Hi, everyone. Welcome. We'll give everyone just a few minutes to enter into the session. Welcome. We're glad you're here. All right, welcome. It's a minute after. We'll go ahead and get started. We have a lot of information to share with you all today. This session is spreading the word about home visiting and parenting education, messaging tools and tips. I'm Melea Rose Waters. I am the Policy Director at Prevent Child Abuse North Carolina, and I am joined by Sara Lang and Rachael Burrello with NCPC. And we are so pleased to be here with you this afternoon to share with you some of the work of the Communications Committee of the HVPE System Design. And Rachael, Sara, and I are the co-leads for the Communications Committee. And this committee has been meeting for about 2 years now. And we just are looking forward to sharing with you some of the work that we've been doing, as well as some of the work we're planning to do in the future. You could go ahead and advance to the next one. Yes. So first, I want to share with you all, we are so excited that February is Family Support Awareness Month here in North Carolina. And the governor has shared his proclamation with us today. We have been sharing a toolkit broadly with images that you can share to celebrate Family Support Awareness Month. I would like to ask you all to participate in a little activity as we kick off our session here. If you have Twitter, I invite you all to share the following message that's on the screen through your Twitter account. It's I'm attending the hashtag Home Visiting Summit 2022 on the first day of Family Support Awareness Month in North Carolina. Home visiting and parenting education programs improve prenatal health and birth outcomes, improve child health outcomes, and decrease ER visits and decrease rates of abuse and neglect. And then hashtag Family Support NC. So I encourage you all, pull out your phones, and if you wouldn't mind to share this message, we will retweet you. And you can follow along at NC Smart Start or at PCANC. We are live tweeting the summit, and you can also share some of the messages there. I wanted to share with you, just while you're typing that up into Twitter, I wanted to share with you just a little bit of the history of Family Support Awareness Month. February of 2021 was the first Parenting Education Awareness Month in North Carolina. We did change the name to Family Support Awareness Month so we could be inclusive of the broad range of family support programs across the state. So last year it was Parenting Education Awareness Month. This year and going forward, it will be Family Support Awareness Month. And Family Support Awareness Month is an opportunity for you to share the work of family support programs in your community. It's an opportunity for you to advocate for increased investment in family support programs. And it's also a chance for you to build relationships with other family support programs in your community and across the state. So we invite you to join the conversation, and we'll be sharing tools that you can use for Family Support Awareness Month and throughout the month, throughout the webinar today. And also we have these available on our websites. You can see them on our social media. Someone has just asked, is this just on Twitter? You can share it on any social media platform that you would like. If you want to share it on Facebook, if you want to share it on LinkedIn or Instagram, anywhere you'd like to share it. In the toolkit, there are images that you can also add to it if you would like. And I'm going to talk a little bit more about the toolkit later on in our presentation. So thank you all for sharing. You can go to the next slide. So our agenda today and what we're going to talk about, we're going to give you a little bit of an overview of the Communications Committee. We're going to talk about the importance of equity and family voice in the communications committee work, as well as the home visiting and parenting education system. We're going to give you a brief overview of our work plan for the committee. We're going to talk about some of the current messaging research, which is really interesting. And one of the things that we've been thinking about as part of the communications committee is how we talk about home visiting and parenting education. And we're going to share with you some opportunities to get involved around Family Support Awareness Month, Big V roundtable discussions with our congressional delegation, and then also how you can get involved with the communications committee. And now I'm going to turn it over to Sara to talk about the charge of the committee.
Hi, everybody. So as a committee of the HVPE System Collaborative, the Communications Committee has a charge. So this is what sort of grounds our work, and we thought it would be useful to ground us today as well. It is support activities and advance system work and change that allows all HVPE stakeholders to utilize common messages across sectors and programs to build awareness and knowledge of HVPE in service of the collaborative system approach and the overall prenatal to 8 early childhood system. So there's a lot happening in that charge, but I think if you've been attending the summit, that's pretty familiar in terms of the mission and the vision of the system, as well as some of the other committees. So we'll learn a little bit more about how we've translated that into our work. So to dig a little into that charge, the committee worked on a purpose. And you'll see now we've got more words because I love words because we're the communications committee. And so if you look, I will let you read this. I will not read this to you, but sort of some of the key things carry through from the charge and also into the way that the system is being organized. One of the primary goals of our committee is really working on common messages that we can all use so that we're consistent across models, across programs, across organizations, and really drive home the impact of home visiting and parenting education. Awareness of the programs themselves, both with the public, with families, and with lawmakers and policymakers. And then using our tools to help increase access across the state and for families. And of course, the collaborative approach that mirrors what the system itself is developing and the committee system as a whole, but really working again across models in partnership with one another to create the whole child support system and a continuum of care. Similarly, our committee feels very strongly, as I think most of the system does, and probably most of you do as well, that home visiting and parenting education has a real opportunity to impact equity and to remediate injustice. So we have formalized a specific equity statement around inclusive messaging, and that will really focus on our tools to remediate racial and economic inequities. Again, this is, I think, one of the most powerful parts of both home visiting and parenting education is that it really has the opportunity to bridge that divide for families that have been harmed by racist systems and unjust systems. So, and also in line with our equity statement, we commit to developing resources that are easily accessible for diverse audiences. So for this summit, for example, all the recordings will be made available in Spanish afterwards. We wanted to do it live, but had a little technical hiccup there. But again, trying to reach as many folks as possible with our messaging and to reflect also the diversity of North Carolina. Another piece, oh, is this Rachel? Sorry. And now I'm going to turn it over to Rachel.
That's okay. I mean, I know it's very exciting to continue directly into community, family, and provider voice, which is part of equity, of course, because it is important to elevate those voices of local communities, families, and home visitors and parenting educators within this system. As you may have heard through the keynote, through the collaborative board session, of course, through the parent panel earlier today, we are working on building with and not for in everything that we do. We value the lived experiences of those within the system who are both benefiting from and being harmed by the system as it stands, in order to inform and guide the messaging that we're putting out, as well as designing solutions to the barriers that they are facing. And gathering these stories and perspectives and lifting up these voices is aligned with the values of the System Collaborative, that is the collaborative board, the committees, the advisory bodies, as well as, as we said before, just with the principles of equity that we are seeking to follow in everything that we do. And you will hear later about some tools that you can use along with us to help lift those voices up within the system, within the work that you do, and as part of the work that we're all doing together. So we'll turn it back over for the next slide.
Thank you, Rachel. So I will talk a little bit about the work that our committee has been doing and that we're looking forward to doing. We have been developing a work plan to sort of guide and plan out the committee's efforts for the long term. Some of this work will be quite intensive and take quite a bit of time, but some will be finished more quickly. Some of these goals are presentations that we can all use, again, when we're meeting with the public or with local lawmakers or with county commissioners to help raise awareness of the importance of the programs. Some common messaging and toolkits and resources. Our resources around Family Support Awareness Month are a huge step toward this. There are things in there that you can use not just this month, but beyond. So we're really excited about that. And something that's really important to me is that we're trying very hard to develop a bank of stories from both providers, so home visitors and parenting educators, and families and other stakeholders to really tell us how important these programs are and how they really impact families. You'll see a little bit later that we have a way to collect videos really simply right now. And we're really hoping that folks will share those stories because, as you heard from our parent panel, hearing directly from those that have been touched by home visiting and parenting education and those directly involved is just so powerful. And then we're also involved in doing some research on branding for the system and how we, again, can be consistent and help, again, build awareness of sort of the brand of the home visiting system. As we mentioned before, there's been some initial research at the national level on messaging around home visiting and parenting education. And it's really interesting. I look forward in the future to kind of digging into this a little bit further and also hopefully having some local and statewide sort of feedback that we can fold in. But you'll see that Pritzker and the National Collaborative for Infants and Toddlers had a survey in April of 2021 that showed, again, the strong support both for policymakers and policy influencers for the prenatal to 3 period overall. So the really strong feelings of support for early childhood, which is great and something that we love to see. They found that the focus on brain science and the importance of building strong brain connections in that period is still the most compelling message. But they also found about some data about the long-term mental and emotional health and development ranked really highly. So 76% found those extremely important and 22% very important. So you can certainly see how home visiting and parenting education would fall into those messages, and those could also be a part of how we talk about these programs. It's really interesting when we start to look into home visiting a little bit. this is part of why we want to raise awareness of home visiting, and also why we want to think really carefully about how we talk about it. In this data and in other data nationally, we see that home visiting as a topic lags a little bit in terms of how important it is viewed. My instinct and the instincts of others is that this is largely because people don't know enough about what we mean when we say home visiting. This is one of those reasons that we really want to educate legislators about what it means and what it means to a family. So you'll see that some of the things that things that score very well, it's basically the same thing. Prenatal, baby, physical, and mental health. That's what home visiting and parenting education do. But you'll see that home visiting scores a little bit lower. So really, that's why we want to build those stories around helping to build understanding and really make sure that we're educating our lawmakers and the public about it. And we will continue to do some of this work at the committee level. We've started doing a little bit of research and having some discussions within the committee and also with the board around the best framing for home visiting and parenting education here. We'll continue to look for new research and doing some of our own research, getting some feedback from North Carolina lawmakers. And we'll also be starting a conversation with you all through the committee about how you talk about your work and impact and how we can really fold that into our work. So stay tuned for ways that you can participate in the communications committee moving forward. And now I'm going to turn it over to Melea.
So I want to share with you all a little bit more information around Family Support Awareness Month and some of the tools that we've developed to support your campaigns if you're wanting to post on social media or blog posts. One thing that is not on this slide, but I want to mention because we're debuting it right now as part of the Home Visiting and Parenting Education Summit, is a toolkit that we've put together for social media posts in particular. And thank you so much. Yes, Jessica's posting some of the links in the toolkit. We have a toolkit that if you would like to participate and share on social media different posts for different days that we'll be following at PCANC and probably at NCPC and other organizations as well, with different topics for different days throughout the month. And if you scroll to the bottom, you'll see specific messaging that you can share on those days along with images. And if I'll give you a tip as far as sharing the images. What we've figured out is that if you open up the links in your browser, then it's hard to actually download the images. So you'll need to open it up as a Word doc, which you should be able to open it up in Word. And you can right click on the images and save them and then use them as part of all of your different social media or other campaigns. We've also included in our online our signature for our email address, like we have that. We've changed our cover photos on all of our social media, and those images are available as part of these toolkits as well. So we have, in addition to that social media calendar, we have a communications and a proclamation toolkit that are available both in English and in Spanish. The communications toolkit is just a general toolkit that has a lot of different messaging in it. It has different posts you can share, data, it has sample letters to the editor, etc. There's just a lot of information for you, and the images are in there as well. And then we've also asked for local communities to think about asking their Board of Commissioner or City Council to submit a local proclamation as well. And it really would give you an opportunity to talk about family support in your community. So there's a separate toolkit on how to submit that proclamation available in both English and Spanish. We have the social media images in there, and Sara had mentioned the video and story sharing links that we have available. And for the story sharing, that's going to be for Family Support Awareness Month and beyond. We're going to be collecting stories from both practitioners and families and caregivers for as long as we possibly can. So we encourage you to check those tools out. And if you would rather, do something written instead of a video, we can make that happen as well. Ideally, what we would like to see happen is have enough videos where we can put together different videos to share with different stakeholders. And there's also a blurb that we have available that if you have a network that you send out a regular newsletter, and feel free to edit it however you'd like, but we thought we would give you something to start with that you could send out and share with your networks. It's like, hey, it's Family Support Awareness Month. This is what this is. So we've tried to provide a lot of different resources for you to be able to choose from and how you want to promote Family Support Awareness Month. You can go on to the next one. Yes. So here are some ideas around participating in Family Support Awareness Month. I've mentioned several of these. So you can submit a local proclamation. And I know that there are several counties across the state that have already committed to reaching out to their Board of Commissioners or have already reached out to submit this local proclamation. And there's language in the toolkit for the proclamation if you would like to do that. I will ask that if you do decide to do that, we would love to hear about it. And we would also love to promote, if you're sharing it on social media, we will also share that on social media. So just send us a note and let us know that your county is going to be making a proclamation around Family Support Awareness Month or any activities you're doing along with that, and we'll share it as well. You can share your story and encourage families to share theirs. Like I said, we would love to have as many stories as possible. Every one of us probably has some sort of story around family support, and we would love to have a bank of those to share. You can plan your social media posts using that calendar that we're going to send to you, or you can map out your own, whichever you'd like. You can schedule meetings with your local elected officials if you'd like. If you need support around that, if you've never met with your local elected officials, I'm happy to help you with that. Just send me a note if I can help you think through what to talk about or provide you with talking points or help you with an agenda or anything like that. Happy to do that. You can submit an op-ed or a letter to the editor or write a blog post. This morning, Phil Redmond published an amazing blog post with the Duke Endowment about Family Support Awareness Month. I encourage you all to go and read it. And you can schedule events and highlight family support programs in your community. This is really just, it could be a virtual event or it could be an in-person event. It's just really an opportunity for you to talk about what the great work is that's happening in your community. Let me go on to the next one. So I also want to mention that throughout the summit, there's been discussion around MCV. And we would also be interested in scheduling some visits with our virtual visits with our congressional delegation to talk about MCV and home visiting and parenting education. It would not be focused only on MCV, but with MCV reauthorization around the corner, that would be part of the conversation. But we invite anyone to be a part of this. If this is something that you would be interested in participating in, where you can share, the family support programs in your community, please reach out to us. We have a flyer that's available in both English and in Spanish, explaining kind of like what is MCV, what is the reauthorization, and different things that you can do to help. We're working on developing a parent flyer as well in English and Spanish that's almost ready. That you can share with your networks to see if any parents would like to, or caregivers would like to participate in any of these discussions as well. So I have another tweet or any social media platform that you would like to use. I have another opportunity for you to share. This was a little bit shorter, so I'm sorry you were having problems with copying and pasting out of the chat there. But we've all heard so much really great information throughout the summit. And I know there's probably a lot that you all are thinking about that, maybe you learned some new information or you heard something and it's made you think about things in a different way. And so I would encourage you to tweet at the hashtag Home Visiting Summit 2022. I learned that, and you can change that if you'd like. But we'd love to see like what you've learned or what you're thinking about or what you're going to do differently. And if you wouldn't mind to hashtag it Family Support NC, which is the hashtag for Family Support Awareness Month, we will go in and retweet you as well. We would just love to hear what you've learned or what you're thinking about. I know that yesterday I attended the session on equity, and there were videos shared that I had never seen before, and it's given me so much to think about. So I've learned a lot in this day and a half. So I encourage you, pull your phones back out again and share a tweet with everyone, and we will retweet you.
I was going to say thanks for those that have already tweeted. I was just taking a peek at my Twitter while Melea was talking, and I can already see a lot of you out there posting. So thanks so much. And thanks for raising awareness of home visiting and parenting education.
I will turn it over to Rachael. Yes.
Yeah, I saw a few folks in the chat mention that they had put up some tweets and retweets. So thank you so much for participating and spreading the word. And we appreciate you so much. We would love to have you join us Tuesday, March 15th at 10 a.m. for the next meeting of the Home Visiting Parenting Education System Communications Committee. We're going to do a review of Family Support Awareness Month activities. So kind of look back at, our data, what we learned, what, the results were, what we reached, etc. Review of the summit, and, some data and information on that, as well as kind of a debrief. And then talk about some next steps for the communications committee and for communications in the home visiting and parenting education system as a whole. What do we do with what we've learned? Where are we going? What do we want to accomplish as this thing continues to unfold and grow? So we would love to have your voice included in this conversation. So if I could get the next slide, please. So please email us, drop us a line, let us know if you're interested in getting connected. If you have stories to share, please, use those links that are in the chat. They'll be also on the Summit website attached to this session. So get connected that way. Get connected to the toolkits, to the portals to share stories. If you have, other materials that you want to pass on to be part of the effort to just get the word out about the great work that you're doing, please get in touch with us. We would love to hear from you. We are so happy for the work that you are doing to improve the lives of children and families throughout this state. Thank you for the work that you do. And
I'll also mention, Rachael, in our closing that our committee meets every other month.
Yes.
So, and usually we've been scheduling, I think, around the third Tuesday. It's been as much as we can around the third Tuesday of the month around the same time. So our next meeting will be in March and then so on. So we would love to have you join us. And at our next meeting, like Rachael said, we're going to talk about Family Support Awareness Month, kind of reporting out and also reviewing the summit, just what was the feedback from the summit, but also we're going to get back into the work of the work plan. Right now, we're focused on Family Support Awareness Month. So we will be digging back into that and looking at the next deliverables that we'll be putting together as a committee. And so we would love to have you join us for that.
Absolutely. So yeah, I think, yes, thank you, Jessica, for putting our contact info into the chat. And,
I was going to look to see if there are any questions too that
we can answer. Sure.
that we've missed. maybe in here. There are a lot of links in the chat, a lot of resources for Family Support Awareness Month. Good. Diane has asked if we're involved in the Perinatal Health Equity Collective and the new Perinatal Health Strategic Plan. Rachel, I don't know if that's something that you've.
I have not yet. Yeah, I've not yet, but I would love to hear more. So Diane, if you would like to send us an email, would love to hear from you.
Since we have a few minutes, do you all have any questions, or are there any resources missing that you would like to have for Family Support Awareness Month? We have time to develop more resources, so if there's something more you need, let us know.
And there's a question in the Q&A if there is any funding for things like local TV ads, billboards, etc.
We are looking to possibly put a budget into this. So I'm not sure what that's going to look like yet, but it's definitely it's percolating. So it's a possibility.
Yeah. And I think that's such a good point too, when we're thinking about, community readiness to bring new programs in, that we also need to have that communications component where we are broadly reaching a lot of different people, like through these different avenues, and sharing what home visiting and what parenting education is. What do we mean by family support? I think that's definitely something that we have to consider as we're trying to build the whole system across the state, for sure.
Yeah.
And something that we're really interested in is also helping you all talk in your local communities about home visiting and parenting education, because again, the system is built on local programs and a continuum of care and making sure that local communities have what they need. So that's an important part for you all to be able to bring to the committee and to the system as well.
Yeah. There's also a question, is there a map available that shows the gaps in services across North Carolina, like which counties don't have any home visiting or parenting education programs? Rachel.
Yeah, I think I may still have that up in my browser. I would point you in that case to the UNC Jordan Institute for Families. And let me see if I can actually pull that for you.
Is Paul still here? Paul Lanier?
Paul, are you here?
Pop your chat in. Pop your link in. Paul Lanier did a great landscape analysis of home visiting programs. Oh,
let's see who's faster.
Thank you. And
there we go.
The parenting education one is in the works, right?
Yes. So there we go. All right. We got some fast copy pasters. Yes. So the Jordan Institute and Dr. Paul Lanier have done a couple of analyses on exactly that, particularly with home visiting at this point. Paul is the co-chair of the Assessment and Planning Committee of the Home Visiting and Parenting Education System, which is working right now on gathering some similar data for parenting education. So the idea is that we would be able to have kind of a landscape, is really the best term for it, of, where are the programs? Where are there not programs? Who is being served? How many folks are being served? Where are they? Where are they not? So that we can answer some detailed questions about what home visiting and parenting education looks like in North Carolina, where the resources are, where they are lacking, and what kinds of things might work to address some of the gaps. So that's one of the many exciting things that we're doing, and that we're able to begin to do because we're starting to try and work as a system.
Mhm.
Diane, I would love to have some broader conversation about this idea that parenting education is a term that many providers claim and not just a fit for home visiting. You are correct. We've kind of struggled with this a little bit in the system and continue to struggle with it, which is one of the reasons why I'm glad we have a communications committee, because we can wrestle with this way of talking about things to come to a point where we are actually communicating more accurately without leaving folks out. Because the idea is to be inclusive of folks who are wrapping their arms around families supportively to help them better support their children, whether that's delivered in the home or delivered in another type of setting. So, for example, the vision for the system refers to parenting education because home visitors also do parenting education, but not all parenting educators do home visiting. So it's kind of like a square and rectangle, like all squares are rectangles, not all rectangles are squares kind of situation to get all third grade geometry on it. But we just are aiming to be inclusive of everyone because we know this work is so important. We need everyone, if that makes sense. Okay, good.
Great.
I see there's a hand raised among the attendees. Amanda, did you have a question you wanted to address?
You'll have to pop it in the chat since we're in a webinar. So I'm sorry about that. But if you can
Yeah.
pop it in the chat, that would be great. I was like, unmute. No, you can't unmute. I'm sorry.
Yeah, sorry guys. Due to the format, if you have a question, yeah, you'll just have to pop it in the chat. But oh, I see. Okay, yeah. Yeah, sometimes it's easy to misclick, especially when the buttons are a little close together. But yeah, are there any other questions that we can address for you before we go?
I think there's one more hand raised.
Yeah, Sarah Wilson, or possibly Sarah from Wilson.
Oh, so Sarah asked, what kind of activities? Might need some more.
And Sarah, I can turn on your microphone if you would like to talk.
Yeah, let's give it a go, Jess.
Hi, Sarah. You can ask your question out loud if you'd like.
I was just wanting to know what kind of activities, because I'm a parent as teacher educator, what kind of activities do you recommend we take into the home right now during this Family Awareness Month? And like next week, we're going to go on the 15th, some of us educators, and go to the city council office, which I think is a great thing. And like, what kind of activities can I share with my families in the homes to bring awareness for this. That's what I was trying to type out. I'm sorry.
Got it. No, that's a lot to type. So we totally understand. Well, first of all, if you can ask them to share their story of using home visiting and parenting education services, that would be fantastic. And then obviously when you meet with your local officials, take some pictures, post those on social media if you can. Take some facts with you. There's some good sort of bullet points and talking points in the toolkit that you can use. Maybe talk to them about a local proclamation as well. What other thoughts do y'all have, ladies?
I honestly, I really think that the best thing you can do is encourage families to tell their own stories, because the thing that moves people is not necessarily like, well, 30% and 57% and $18.19 and blah, 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 blah. But hearing from someone, I am alive and sane and parenting well because I got some help.
Exactly. Like kind of talking about our program when we go into the homes, how is it beneficial for them? Yeah,
Sure.
I got that. I get you.
And having real parents tell real stories about how it has helped them goes a long way.
Yeah, thank you.
And even encouraging them to tell their friends. I know certainly when I was a new mom, hearing from other moms about things that worked for them or things they found useful was certainly helpful too. So that's another way to sort of spread the word.
Yeah.
Thank you, ladies.
Thank
Somebody
you.
put something in the, can I download this link?
Yes, that's for our engagement tool, and families will be able to use it to provide their stories verbally if you'd like them to do so. And we have
Okay.
English and Spanish, so I'm about to pop the Spanish one in. Hi, Cindy. It might be a loading error. I'll get that toolkit up and it should be on by the end of the session. I apologize.
It's hot off the press. So it's brand new. We just waited until the session today to share that. So brand new. There's probably a link somewhere in the chat somewhere for it to. Don't know.
All right, Sarah, are you Sarah Wilson or Sarah from Wilson?
Oh, I'm Sarah Wilson, not Sarah
Okay.
from Wilson. Sarah
Gotcha.
Wilson.
Sarah Wilson.
But I know where Wilson is.
Gotcha. I didn't want to assume.
You're fine.
Yeah. Is there anything else we can help you with?
No. I'm sorry, I can't type that fast and get it all my thinking out. Sorry.
No. Totally
Yeah.
understand. Totally understand. Okay. I think we're going to turn your microphone back off then.
Okay.
But thank you so much for being a part of the session.
And thanks to all of you all for joining us and for tweeting and for putting on social media. We look forward to continuing to hear from you during Family Support Awareness Month. And in a few minutes, Jessica will be putting a link in the chat to the survey for this session that you can let us know what you learned and what maybe you'd like to know in addition. And if you have any final questions, pop those in the chat or in the Q&A function and we will get those handled. But thank you so much for joining us today. And it was great to be with you all.
Yes, thank you all so much.
Andrea, I will say that actually the tool that we're using to collect stories through the video, it does have prompts. So it asks families questions that can sort of guide their story sharing, because I found that helpful anytime I was kind of doing a video like that. So they might find that helpful. If more support is needed, can definitely reach out to us and we'll help as much as possible.
All right. Thank you so much, everyone. And please do take that survey link. Let us know what went well. Let us know how we can improve. Let us know what you would like to know more about as we continue to move forward and build this thing together. So thank you so much.
All right, thank you all so much for being here today. I think everyone learned a lot, so thank you to our speakers. We have posted all of the links in the chat, but they can also be found on our agenda page for the summit. This session will be recorded if you'd like to view it later. I have also posted a survey link in the chat. Please consider giving us feedback on this session. Our next session is at 3:15 p.m. It is building a continuum of care, and it will be a panel. So again, thank you all for attending this session, and thank you to our presenters.